I mean, I'm not interested in fashion. I mean, I'm not interested. I mean, I've got lots of friends who work in fashion, and years ago I used to work in fashion myself. But I'm not sort of interested in following fashion or what is fashionable. I mean, the things that I've always dressed for myself. You know, whether that's fashionable or not. But for me, you know, it's very important that people sort of have their own unique individual style. They're not sort of just copying and pasting something out of a magazine. And I'm much more interested in style, as it were, rather than fashion. Style is sort of something that sort of transcends fashion. So, you know, I mean, and that's not about money, you know, because it can be something you've bought in a thrift store, bought in a charity shop. It's how you put things together, or, you know, have a hat, you know, it's the angle that you know, kind of rakish angle, or push it back, or whatever it, you know, it's kind of, or just sort of adding something sort of silly to it that kind of customizes it, makes it yours. I mean, all of those sorts of things. I mean, you know, it's not about money or about being fashionable, but it is sort of, for me, you know, style or is about sort of, and fashion is really about kind of expressing who you are. It should be a kind of revelation. You know, this is who I am. It's like my home. You know, it's kind of like, this is who I am. You know, you're sharing, you're getting a little, being offered an opportunity to look into the window of, you know, who is David Carter. But I think that most people obviously don't do that. They hide behind a sort of uniform. And that uniform doesn't have to be a kind of little sort of Mao suit. You know, it can be kind of jeans and a t-shirt, or it can be, you know, it's, or a suit. You know, it's kind of, most people choose to be invisible. You know, they want to blend in. Because that's a sort of easier way of living life, rather than to do their own thing and to be themselves and then somehow be judged on that. Most people hide, and you know, which is really boring. That's why I love living in East London, because you know, East London's full of interesting characters, and it's sort of style, but it's also it's the personality. You know, you can see the person, and that's important to me. I'm not interested in people who just. But I could be frivolous and say it would be nice if more people wore hats again, hats and gloves. But no, everything's cyclical anyway. I mean, fashion is just a sort of is a sort of continuum. I mean, you know, what was fashionable 5 years ago and now unfashionable will be fashionable again. So it's not everything has its moment, but that moment will return. So it's nothing's. I mean, it's sort of like, you know, obviously 70s fashion, for example, which, you know, until relatively recently was just perceived as something gross and rather pathetic and ridiculous. You know, it's now sort of super cool all over again. I mean, yeah, so everything just keeps moving forward and people rediscover things. And then, you know, because there's a sort of novelty and they think, oh wow, that's really, really cool. You know, because it's fresh, it's different. I mean, I design some of my own clothes and have those made, and then there are a few designers that I like who, yeah. So I'm very, yeah, I have a sort of very specific look, and so yeah, it's not. No, I can't go to sort of Oxford Street. You know, if a good hymn, you know, should reflect the passions and interests that you have. You know, and it's not about kind of, again, expensive things. It could just be, things that you found, bits of driftwood you found on the beach, or leaves, or pressed flowers. Sort of some lovely afternoon you sort of spent with someone you like, or whatever it is. It's just, but there's a sort of reminder that you've lived and you have had experiences, it's a bit like sort of people editing what they put up on Facebook. So they only sort of put up pictures of them, hanging out at some kind of swanky restaurant, or on a beach, or standing next to some celebrity or something. It's a very edited, it's very positive. My life is wonderful. I'm such a sort of cool person. And I suppose we're all guilty of that to sort of some extent. But I mean, at the end of the day, a home should be sort of, your private space. It's your retreat. It's your sort of sanctuary. I mean, most people probably think that I'm kind of very extrovert, which in fact isn't the case at all. I mean, I host lots of events. I do lots of interviews and things like that. But in fact, I'm terribly, terribly shy. And but I think most people sort of probably would describe me as sort of a bit eccentric. And I mean, I'm in lots of lists of. I've been in newspapers, lists of eccentric, stuff like that. And creative. I'm in lots of books, and came out last year. Sort of like Britain's most creative people and stuff. So kind of creative, bit whimsical, and probably quite eccentric. But I don't think of myself as a dandy, and I don't think I'm particularly eccentric. I mean, I just sort of live my life, and that might appear to be sort of eccentric to other people if they're just sort of wearing a kind of grey suit and live very grey lives, which I've chosen not to do. I don't know. It's very subjective.